Hi, welcome to the second episode of building a software as a service application with Rails. This episode should be pretty simple. What we're going to do is create an account model, and we're going to accomplish this by first speccing the model out with RSpec and shoulda matchers, and then implementing it. Last episode, we ended with the creation of our first high-level feature spec. In order to get that passing, the first thing we'll have to do is create an account model. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll generate a model, and it will create a migration, the model Ruby file, the spec, and a factory file. So now let's open up the account spec that was created when we generated our model. Typically, for my model specs, I start out with two describe blocks, one for validations and one for associations. For associations, we know that we'll have an owner, which will probably take the shape of a user model, but we don't know for sure how that's going to look right now. So we can just insert a placeholder so we remember to add our specifications later. Inside the validations, we know that for now we only have a subdomain field to validate. So we can go through using shoulda matchers and begin to spec out our subdomain field. Now we know that we should validate the presence and uniqueness of subdomain. And we also know some values that should be acceptable, such as my name and test should be an acceptable subdomain. For values that we should not allow www for obvious reasons. We also should not allow www capitalized. We shouldn't allow dots, and we shouldn't allow forward slashes. You can be more thorough than this, but for now this is okay. Additionally, we want to validate case insensitive uniqueness. So we'll have to do that manually because I don't believe shoulda has a matcher for that. To accomplish this, we'll use factory girl to create an account with a subdomain named TEST, and then we'll create a second subdomain in lowercase and expect that not to be valid. So taking a look at our console, we can see what guard is telling us. Well, first of all, we need to run our migrations. And don't forget to prepare your test database. Then we can go back to guard and press enter again. And we can see that almost all of our specs are failing. So now we can work towards getting these passing. These specs passing, we can open up our account RB file and start writing our validations. We can see that we want to validate the presence of our subdomain. We want to validate its uniqueness, and we want to turn case sensitivity off. We want to validate the format with a regular expression. This will allow us to get rid of most of the characters that we don't want. So we'll start and use \A and escape Z to denote the beginning and end of the string. We'll use escape W to denote any character A through Z and any number and underscore. And we'll use escape hyphen to allow hyphens, and we'll allow any number of those characters with the plus sign, and we'll make the whole thing case insensitive. We'll then provide a message to make it easier for the user to see what is going wrong. And finally, we'll validate that the subdomain that the user has chosen is not in a list of restricted subdomains. So for now, I just included www. Once we save that file and switch back to the console, we can see that Guard has rerun our tests again, and we can see that the only test that is not passing is the capital www test. So what we need to do for that is downcase the subdomain before the validations are run. In order to make sure that the subdomain is always lowercase, we'll create a method that downcases the subdomain and run it before our validations. I'm going to go ahead and put the downcase method in a try in case the subdomain is nil. Before I save this file and run my tests again, I'm just going to clean up the restricted subdomain array a little bit and pull it out into a constant. The %w just allows us to specify an array of strings without using delimiters. Switching back to Guard, I can see that all of our specs are passing now, and I can press enter to run all of the specs, and I can see that our high-level integration test is still failing, which is expected, and we'll continue working towards getting that passing in the next episode.